Warning. This podcast may contain spoilers from whatever TV show or movie is mentioned. Please listen at your own discretion. Welcome to Viewers Anonymous.
Yo, what's going on? I am Scoots Bronson.
And I am S. Foster.
That's right. You tuned into another episode of the Viewers Anonymous podcast, where we give you our very own reviews and takes of movies and TV straight out of Hollywood. What's happening with you, bro?
Man, I'm just glad that little minor issue that we had,
Yeah.
what I'm saying, got fixed. For the people that's been waiting on the next, for the next pod, man, we had a Spotify, I would say, issue we had.
No. So I
Um,
figured out it wasn't Spotify. It was the whatever I downloaded, the file that downloaded. I guess it
mhm.
was when the whatever the codex was that was trying to read it from Spotify, it wasn't reading it properly. So I don't know if the code was messed up or something like that as it was being downloaded or what, but it wasn't loading it up. So I just ran it through an editing software real quick and just basically re-recorded it and put it in a new
Yeah.
file. So I mean it worked. So if from now on if we gotta do that, then that's what we'll do.
Okay. Cool, man. And that's for the people who've been waiting on us. I'm
Yeah,
saying to come
yeah,
back
yeah.
because we was
Sorry
basically
for
out
them
for a
technical
week.
issues.
Yeah, but I end up having a Spotify issue myself, where I had basically, I mean, it ended up being an easy fix, man. It was just like my Spotify account was under a Gmail
Mm-hmm.
account and my podcast was on a Yahoo account, and then I
Mm-hmm.
had to basically get rid of the Gmail account and all that little shit, but little minor stuff, man. That, podcasters got to deal with from time to time, but.
Absolutely.
But I'm good though, man. Glad to be back in the lab. And I apologize for my voice, people. I mean, I'm talking about allergies, everything just been just
It
coming up
it
on me,
don't
man.
it
So
don't sound as bad as you think it do.
okay, well maybe well, good deal, man.
Yeah, you sound pretty cool, bro. Um,
Appreciate it.
for sure. So, real quick, um, my kids are out of school.
As of mine.
Yeah, I don't know what to do now. Cause, bro, is I'm so excited, bro. I'm so excited, bro. Like we about to be kicking it like crazy. So I don't like. I'm really like trying to figure out like stuff to take them to go do. But I have no idea what I'm gonna take them to go do. But I'm so excited, bro. Cause they older now, so like I can go take them to do like super way more cooler shit. Bro, I can't wait.
Yeah,
This summer about to be fun as hell. Um,
that's what's up.
for sure, bro. I was so excited. My son, he texted me this morning like, "Yeah, we not going to school today." I'm like, "It's the last day of school. You don't want to go to school?" He like, "Nah, not really." I'm like, "All right, that's what's up." So, yeah, I can't wait. Um, man, so we covering the doc, man. HBO. I believe this came out. Was it last year or this year?
No, it was this year. This year.
This year? Okay.
Hmm.
So released this year, HBO's original documentary, um, which they always knock it out the park. Got to give HBO credit, bro. They've been doing great docs since I was like 11. You know what I'm saying? Like they kill it when they get to a documentary, bro. Um, this one was very interesting to say the least. We're talking about the truth about Jim. It is a four-part docu series on HBO Max or Max, whichever y'all want to call it. Um, man, I challenge everybody to go watch it. However, trigger warning: if you have been a victim of any kind of assault, whether it be physical assault, sexual assault, whatever else falls under those categories, be very careful watching this. You know what I'm saying? It may trigger some things. Um, just because they don't really show it, they don't show nothing. They just kind of explain everything that was going on at the time. So just what I'm saying, a warning for people before they watch it. Um, but this was interesting because not the information that was like that you end up finding out about the Jim character, the Jim Mordecai
Yeah.
person, but it was just more so for me at least interesting that his grand well Yeah, you could say granddaughter. His granddaughter. Um, I think her name was Sierra. She
Yeah,
she really like was on the case of seeing if this nigga would have been the HBK killer. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Or the
or Zodiac. Like,
Zodiac. That's what I'm sorry, Zodiac. But
well, no, well, both because they thought that
yeah, but most
it
people
was it
know
was it
about the
was more.
Zodiac.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, and then either that or possibly both the Santa Rosa hitchhiker killer.
yeah,
And what's interesting is that, you know what I'm saying, she just going through her day to day and she just like seeing all of this shit and then she just kind of get that little, light bulb in her head like, yo, I wonder if this motherfucker is the Zodiac killer. And what kind of crazy situation would we be in, bro, if the Zodiac killer was not only discovered, but a lot of these situations surrounding it and murders surrounding it would have been solved all because a girl just thought her grandfather was a famous serial killer.
yeah. You stupid,
Hey, I was
man.
thinking about that the whole time because that's the buildup. So the buildup, I'm
Yeah.
sitting here like, man, like if this motherfucker find that her fucking grandfather's a Zodiac killer, this shit is gonna, this shit should be the best documentary of all time. I'm like, there's no way that she finds this out and police couldn't do it, and she just was on some. Yo, this nigga just oddly, just for some odd reason, I'm getting a bad vibe that my grandfather might be, what I'm saying, this mass serial killer. So I'm sitting here watching this shit in awe. First off, my first time ever watching this, I was going to bed, and I didn't go to bed until like the middle of episode 3. That's how good it was getting.
Damn.
Um, and so like that was my, so like that was my initial thing. Like as I'm watching this, I'm like, yo, is she really about to break this case? That's the only thing I could really focus on until I think it's episode 3 where they kind of get into the profile of the Zodiac killer and all that, and then she gets the dude that's been pretty much following the case for like I think he said like 20 plus years or something like
Something
that.
like that. Yeah. And then you talking about the guy that she gave like the DNA to and all that type of shit in
No,
the.
no, the before that, the dude that she sat at the
Oh,
table with when she was showing
got you.
them pictures and
Yes.
they was going through the sketch, him. So I think he
Yeah.
said he was following it for like 20 something years. So he's like the most, I guess at this point in time, probably especially, um, probably the most informed person on that case.
Yeah, but I mean, the people that are that close that could get the information, all that type of stuff, like yes,
Yeah,
because I think that before then, you would have to look at Robert Graysmith, the dude who ended up writing the book that they based the movie off of, that
right,
came out with Mark Ruffalo and Jake
right,
Gyllenhaal and shit. So, and he was a fucking, and that's another thing. He was a cartoonist at
yeah,
fucking San Francisco Chronicle, and he was getting more information than the fucking cops were.
right.
So the whole Zodiac shit has always been kind of funny. Me personally, I feel like it wasn't one. I don't think
Okay.
that there was like one like. I think that there was like a main guy maybe, but I think that once we
After a while,
figured
they started
out that,
getting copycats.
yeah, because like
Yeah.
once people, I think this is the wild thing about this about the '70s, right?
Hmm.
Is that so you are right. You have copycat people, but then also the Zodiac started taking credit for shit that he didn't do. So
Yeah, I
then he
remember
just
that.
really
I remember
started
that
sending them
immediately.
on a wild goose chase, really, and
Yeah,
just trying to make himself bigger. But I also think that when you look at the '70s, you got the Zodiac killer, right?
yeah.
You got
Manson,
Manson, you got
Bundy.
uh Bundy. What's the other dude
Is
name?
what's the name with the
Um
with the
uh
show?
oh man, with the clown guy.
Oh,
We did the
Gacy,
podcast on him. Gacy. Like
Gacy.
we just had a lot of fucking
Was
serial killers.
what's the name? The nigga that was eating people? Was he in the 80s
I
or
feel like he
70s?
was in the '80s. I feel like he was in
80s.
the '80s.
Yeah, that's wild.
Um, Dahmer.
I didn't know him to say his name. That's all.
Oh, But yeah, so I just think that the '70s, man, was so crazy, and people was just getting away with a lot of murders
Yeah.
and shit. And then, like I said, you got the Santa Rosa hitchhiker killer and shit. So it was just so
Mm-hmm.
much shit going on. So I personally don't think it was one person. Me, I think that the person that got identified by a lineup,
Mm-hmm.
um, Arthur Lee Allen. I think that he was one of one of the people. I mean, you have a guy who fucking got shot and then identified this dude like 20 years later, like, yo, this is the guy that shot me.
Yeah.
And they went to go arrest his ass and he had a fucking heart attack. So
Damn.
so we
You
didn't
talking
even
about poetic
we didn't even get to
justice,
get
man?
anywhere.
Shit, he got the
So
ultimate. What are you talking about?
exactly.
That motherfucker. He got sent away for real. Shit, justice
But
was
I mean,
served.
yeah, but you don't. I think that now the thing with him was there was a lot of evidence that added up to him. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because you had the shit where you had the windbreaker or windwalker boots, whatever the fuck you call them things. That was a size 10. He wore a
Mm-hmm.
size 10. You can only get those boots if you was in the military. He was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
When every time the murders would happen, he was out, and then when the murder stopped, he was locked up during those times. Like it was just a lot of shit that lined up
Yeah.
with Arthur Lee Allen, and he happened to live because he moved around a lot. Where certain murders was he was actually living like in that county during those times. So I personally think
Mm-hmm.
it was him. Now, when it
Well,
comes to
it's hold on. It's interesting that you feel that way because that's the same way Sierra felt. This is the same. This is the way you talking right now. That's how Sierra was presenting in this whole show. I mean, this whole documentary. Like
yeah,
she was just like, "Yo, like all of this shit is adding up to me. I have to figure this out."
I think if he was anything, he could have been the Santa Rosa hitchhiker killer.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but the one thing that really kills me about this shit is, and you kind of mentioned it earlier,
Hmm.
where you was like this documentary don't you know we give the fucking shit in the beginning,
Hmm.
like you don't get any closure really because what I'm saying, you get the black screen and the words and shit, so you really. The thing is that what killed me was that they tell us this shit is called the truth about Jim, and we still
Hmm.
don't know the truth about Jim
Well, we
because
do.
we didn't get a fucking answer.
No, we do. We do. So this is the thing, right? So I think that when they talk about like, especially by naming it that or titling it that, I think the real thing was the family's truth about Jim. I don't think it was necessarily trying to really figure out if he was the Zodiac killer or the Santa Rosa hitchhike killer. I think those
Yeah,
was more like added on to what the you know what I'm saying what the focus was. Because to me, when we find out the information that we find out about him, like he was a rapist, he was a huge
yeah.
misogynist. You know what I'm saying? He would talk all the time how he wanted a harem of women. He started doing weird shit like walking in motherfuckers' rooms, holding his hands out, quoting Bible verses and shit like that. Like this motherfucker was like wild. Then he was like a fucking groomer and a predator. He would be out
Hmm.
watching young teenage girls and shit, like having parties for him at the house, using his daughter to, you know what I'm saying, set up parties and shit. So it was like real weird that even like because he was a teacher too, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, like even the way he retired. Remember, like when his daughter went off to college, he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna just stop teaching." And she was like, "Why would you stop teaching?" He was like, "Yeah, it's nothing in it for me no more." So it's like, yo, you was using your daughter to like pull in young girls for
Yep.
you to do shit with, and then they find out like he was a rapist. He was, you know what I'm saying? He was physically abusive, like all of these things. And I'm like, yo, this motherfucker is really like a psychopath for real. You know what I'm saying? Like even
Yeah.
when the brother Probst or what, I think his name was Probst, but he was saying how when he got into his first fight, because that was his stepdad. Jim wasn't his actual
Real
father.
dad. Hmm.
Yeah, that was his stepdad. So he like, he taught me how to fight. He said I got into my first fight. He said a kid punched me. He said, Jim, take me back. Tell me punch the kid. He said, so I'm punching the kid. And he's like, do it again. And I punched me like, do it again. And he's like, keep going, keep doing. So it's like even that was a little bit weird. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't
Yeah.
I like because as a man, you're supposed to teach your sons how to fight and stand up for themselves and do all that stuff. And like we've all like as fathers, we've done that. Hold your hands up. This how you throw a punch, stuff like that. But like
Yeah.
for my kid to really be in a fight, I'm not going back like, yeah, all right, now punch him in the face. And oh no, you're not done. Dude, that's some weird shit. So like we could, what I'm saying? Like he seemed like a very, very violent person. And
I mean that.
I think that's what what I'm saying, the family, right? They all knew this because he had three
Yeah.
wives. So everybody, all three of them, including the children, they all knew like that's how this dude was. And so I think this was them like showing them coming together to, what I'm saying, like not be so split apart, not be so far away of, what I'm saying, the situation because of him, but to actually come together and really be a family because now you can express your truths and tell the secrets that you've been holding on for this long. I think that's what they meant by like tell the truth about Jim. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. You look at it from that perspective. Yeah, you are 1,000% right because then, but I also think that this gave an opportunity for all three of the wives to actually speak to each other because I don't think
Hmm.
any of them really met each other, or knew each other
Right.
until Sierra kind of brought everybody together and kind of started asking questions. And then she started getting different stories from
Hmm.
her mother and the other wives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she was also able to speak to some other people who, because she was sexually assaulted.
Yeah. Twice.
And yeah, and so for her to be able to speak to other people who have kind of dealt with the similar things that she dealt
Hmm.
with, then she was able to find out, like, damn, like, even though, I didn't grow up with y'all, I don't know y'all, like, we still have a lot of shit in common
Right.
other than just, Jim being like my grandfather, whatever. Like, it was like a lot of the stuff was sick, like, to listen to, like, the whole shit about, what I'm saying, like, he would, like, because the Zodiac Killer, what I'm saying, when he would write letters in and stuff. Well, no, what it was, the last cipher was the cipher,
Yeah.
and it was saying something about, if y'all catch me or whatever, I not collected enough slaves to,
Hmm.
serve me into eternity and all this shit. And they said that Jim used to say a lot of the same shit, and they
Yeah.
said that he used to treat his wives like slaves, like just
Hmm.
basically just tell them to just do everything that he wanted. And like the other weirdo shit that was about him was the whole shit of, like, they was like, yo, he would just take rides and just be gone for days and
Yeah.
shit. And the weirdest thing out of all of this, well, for me, I mean, it was a lot of weird shit, but one of the most weirdest was when he took his son out for a ride
Hmm.
and was just like, went to one of the sites where one of the hitchhiker
Yeah.
victims
Yeah.
was, and was like, yo, there was a girl found dead over here and all this type of shit. It's like, wait a minute. You're
He drove
gonna
to both
take
of the
your
spots. Remember?
yeah, it's like you're gonna take your son and you're gonna tell him this shit. Like, that's,
Yeah. It's
to
weird as
me,
fuck.
that's
Yeah.
some fucking sick ass shit, man.
Yeah.
Like, to do some shit like that and to get your son, I don't want to say involved, but to even take him to a place and be like, yo, there was a dead girl right here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like shit like that, man. It's just like that guy. Like, I feel like what we did learn about Jim was just that he did fit the profile for what, which we learned. Which, that's another thing, man. I'm so happy
Yeah.
that um My Hunter coming back.
Hmm.
So Netflix series, we actually did um
Both
that
seasons.
on here at some point. Um but so they're coming back with that. But anyway, what that whole show was about, if y'all never heard of or seen it, was basically when the FBI and stuff started, putting together, actually, because before then there wasn't a such thing as a serial killer.
Hmm.
So they actually was going around speaking to people who did horrendous murders and multiple murders and shit like that, and they was able to put together a profile. Like, that's basically like what the whole show was about, was them coming up with a profile of and getting the term serial killer. So when they was talking to the one cop guy in the fourth episode, and they was saying like all of the shit that would fit the profile of what a serial killer would
Mm-hmm.
look like. And like everything that he was listing, they was going back to things that Jim was either doing or
Yeah.
heard he done or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yo, man, it's just like there's some weird shit about him. There's
For sure.
definitely some weirdo shit about him. I don't think that this was a documentary that was not warranted, but I don't think HBO Max, whatever you want to call them, would even put the effort in if it wasn't some shit there.
Right.
But I do. I don't know about the Zodiac killer, but that hitchhiker joint, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And
I
then
don't know,
it was
man.
crazy because the Santa Rosa hitchhiker killer and the Zodiac is all in the same like vicinity as far as the killings go. And so when they figure out that, or when she talked to the profiler, I mean not the profiler, the investigator dude about the Zodiac murders and stuff, basically she kind of figured out that he probably wasn't the, you know what I'm saying, the Zodiac. So she
Yeah,
kind of, you know what I'm saying, she kind of got, you know what I'm saying, past that one and then kind of zeroed in on the hitchhiker killer, which, like you said, a lot of the stuff that was being mentioned as this killer was doing was not just some shit that they heard Jim say, but some of the shit he would mimic and do and shit, right? Like he would
yeah,
walk around talking about how he wanted to tie us up, or you know, she was saying like how they want to, or how he wanted to tie us up or slit our throats, or you know what I'm saying, talking about, you know what I'm saying, having the women slaves, him being a rapist, like all of these different things that basically could have pointed out like, yo, this motherfucker might be, you know what I'm saying, this person that's been doing the killings. Um, what I also found interesting too was, you know what I'm saying, the fact that because he was married three times, this is three different families that have suffered the same trauma, but at different points in time and different kinds of trauma, right? And so, you know, you got his first wife who I think he was, I want to say he abused her.
well, I think he abused all of them.
Well, yeah, no, I'm saying like he just abused her because one of the moms he had sexually assaulted, but I forgot
So
which one it was. But one of them he did, and then the other two was just being abused.
yeah,
So the first one was what's her name? Shoot, I forgot what
see,
the kids' names was, but those were his actual kids.
Melissa was his actual daughter,
Yeah, and he
and
had two daughters,
Jamie,
right? Yeah.
and Jamie, Melissa and Jamie.
Right. So he
Christy
had two
was a
biological
stepdaughter.
kids. Yeah, the other
Yeah,
two was stepdaughters, and then
yeah.
um
Shannon was a stepdaughter.
Shannon. Yeah, that's Sierra's mom. So um, you know what I'm saying? He had kids with her. They ended up divorcing. He ended up getting into a second marriage, which is the Probst, and I forgot what the other girl's name was. Um
The second wife was Jenny. I mean,
yeah.
not Jenny. Jen, Gianna.
What's the daughter's name?
Her daughter was. Let's see, the second wife. So hold on, wait a minute.
Cause
So
she
I
had a
guess that
boy
would
and
be
a
Jamie
girl.
then. I think that would be Jamie then.
Okay. So I know he had a daughter. I think he had two daughters.
Yeah, he did have two daughters,
Yeah. And
biological daughters.
then
Yes.
yep. And then he had his second marriage was a boy and a girl.
Okay,
Um
but that ain't got the boy listed right here.
yeah, I think his name was like Probst or something. That's the ones that she went to go talk to when she was saying that was their first time meeting. Like they heard about each other, but that was their first time actually meeting. Um and then the last is Shannon, which is from the third marriage. So he only got two biological kids out of all of this, and they've all experienced something from this dude. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And that right there is automatically weird. When you know
super
what I'm
weird.
saying, like when Shannon was talking about she had snuck a boy into the house and they was making out and doing teenage shit in the room. And like instead of him like, what I'm saying, catching her and telling dude to get out the house and all this other shit, he was watching him. So the next morning
Yeah,
he goes to Shannon like and tell her like, yeah, I know what you was doing last night, and broke it down like play by play. And she was like, yo, this motherfucker is crazy as fuck. Like this motherfucker's watching me make out with it, like because you as a dad, whether it's
yeah.
a stepdad, regular dad, whatever, right? I'm a stepdad, so if I catch her in the room with a dude, I'm not gonna be trying to no,
Man,
hey,
watching, yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Fuck
Get
y'all
your
doing?
ass out of my house. What are you doing in here? And you know better to have this motherfucker in my house. What's going on here? You know what I'm saying? You gonna bust in and you gonna be a dad. You're not gonna be some fucking peeping Tom ass weirdo sitting behind the door watching these fucking kids. So that right there already should have raised suspicion. And then I think Shannon's mom, the third that's the third marriage. So Shannon's mom and her ended up they was beefing for a minute because she left Shannon for Jim. And basically she was kind of like telling, I guess she was trying to convince herself that her mom was doing it, you know what I'm saying, for her
To
safety,
protect
which
her.
yeah,
Yeah,
which in reality she was. You know what I'm saying? Like once they actually have that talk and they break down, you know what I'm saying? Like when her mom was explaining to her, that's exactly what her mom was doing. Her mom was like, yo, like I couldn't have you around him. I couldn't let you, you know what I'm saying, fall victim to that. So I would rather you be safe than you be in this situation with me and there's nothing that I can do to help you. And then,
yeah,
it was good to see them kind of get back together and, you know what I'm saying, and bond it up. Cause I thought that was the most heartbreaking part of all of this, that she felt for all these years that her mom didn't love her and she, you know what I'm saying, she wanted her over this man. When in actuality, her mom's older, so they got different rules and different things that they live by. You know what I'm saying? Image was super important. And especially at her mom's time, like it really wasn't much a woman could do, you know what I'm saying, on her own, let
yeah,
alone a divorced woman or a woman, you know what I'm saying, something like that. So it was tough for her mom, but for her mom to you know what I'm saying, have to sacrifice that in order to protect her, I think like, yo, that's what being a parent is about.
yeah. Because like she made the tough decision because I think that especially like women from that time period, like it was a different time. Like women wasn't working the way that they're working now, or
Right.
women didn't have some of the skills that women have now.
Shit, or going to
So
school.
yeah, yeah, that's another thing. Like, I mean, women didn't even get, scholarships at certain points of time. So it was kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that, her mom kind of felt like, yo, I'm trapped. Like, I can't go somewhere and, make a living without Jim. So the best thing to do is just basically, what I'm saying, have you go off somewhere else. And I thought
Mm-hmm.
that that was one of those things that I don't think a person will understand until they're older. Like,
Right.
I understand, the resentment that she had for her, and any kid would have that resentment when it's like,
Right.
yo, you gonna choose a man over me, like for real. But then like once she got older and understood, like, yo, like there are sacrifices that you have to make as parents sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And like I had to make a sacrifice for you to have a better life. That's just like, in the instance of where, you have let's just use a teenage girl, 15 or whatever, and get pregnant. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, the best thing for this child would be to give it up for adoption. Like,
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? I'm 15, I'm a child myself, what I'm saying? Let's just say, for instance, that the mom is 30.
Yeah.
She like, I had you when I was 15. Now you pregnant at 15. We both, you know what I mean? So it's like it
Mm-hmm.
might be a best thing to do is let's give it up for adoption. Somebody that's looking for a baby, they'll be able to raise this baby. And you may think Like, damn, man, once you find out you was adopted, be like, that's fucked up. My parents gave me up. And then you might meet her and be like, look, my mom was 15 when she had me. I was
Yeah,
15 pregnant with you. Like, we just felt you would have been better growing up in this type of environment
absolutely.
than, you know what I'm saying, me not really knowing what I'm doing. My mom, she's finally trying to get out the house, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because she done had, you know, so I think that those are those type of sacrifices that you won't understand until you're older and you
Absolutely.
actually been through some shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll have that resentment early, but I think that but also I think that with their situation, it was a lot of assumptions. Like
Yeah.
I think she assumed a lot of things, and once she was actually able to sit down with this woman and have that conversation with her,
Hmm.
and then you know you start to find out the truth about Jim, and it's like, you know what, that was probably the smartest thing that she could have done in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a heartwarming thing, to see that relationship kind of rekindle.
Yeah. And to me, one of the dopest things about all this was the fact that through Sierra, through her own trauma and experiences, was able to legit like bring her family, you know what I'm saying, together. And they can actually be together without having any type of beef or having any type of problems, or you know what I'm saying, any disdain towards each other, because now through her having this project and finding out information and going through all these things, you know what I'm saying, she can get the truth from them, and now everybody knows, you know what I'm saying, like what was really going on, what was really happening. Because I think for the longest time, like they seemed like that they were just like not connecting at all. Like they just didn't fuck with each other at all. And like you said, like the three wives never met up, which to me was odd because I'm like, all of these
Because
kids,
there were
well,
stepkids, yeah, there were stepkids.
they were stepkids, but I'm saying like you would think that the brother, you know what I'm saying, his biological kids would eventually come over and hang out with the stepkids, or you know what I'm saying, had hung out with Shannon or any of that, but they didn't really talk like that was a thing, you know what I'm saying? And that was, to me, that was kind of weird because it's like that's still, you know what I'm saying, you still a parent, you know what I'm saying, not just to them but to your own kids too. So like where were you in them situations?
Yeah, which I think is odd because Jim was already dead. You would think that like once Jim was dead, that
Yeah.
like these women kind of would have, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
yo, let's
Yeah.
link up and, you know what I'm saying, have a conversation or something, have a couple of
Correct.
drinks and just kind of talk. Just basically like, yo, man, Jim was super weird about this.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He, but oh, when he was with me, he was weird about this. You would have thought
Right.
that they would have at least got together and was like, yo, it was some. I went through some wild shit being married to this
Hmm.
dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Did you go through anything? Like, you would have thought that they would have did that, but like you said, if it wasn't for Sierra, Sierra brought all of these women together
Yeah.
and actually got all of them in a room. And then once they started to realize, like, oh shit, like we got a lot of fucking shit in common.
Hmm.
Like, you know, like, and it's something that I think that, I mean, I would hate to put it this way, but you know they can kind of trauma bond together
Yeah.
from the shit that they went through. You know what I'm saying? Being married to Jim, which is wild, man. Because then for me, it also have you thinking like, what was it like being married to certain guys in the '70s? Really, if you think about
Hmm.
it, like '70s was a wild ass time, yo.
For
Like
sure.
it was
60s
some
and
wild
70s.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah, that's some. Yeah, that's a time. And the
it was.
because I'm trying to think, like him being around that area at the time, like because that's around the time the Panthers was coming in and like all
Yep,
that. So like it
yep.
was a lot going on at that time.
It
So
was. It was.
he might have like some bodies.
I wouldn't be surprised. 'Cause like I said, he fit the profile. He did a lot of weirdo loner shit.
Yeah.
Um, but then at the same time, and like I say, man, it was a different time back then.
Hmm.
Like you couldn't fucking tell your girl. Now, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna go out. I'm gonna take a ride, and then you don't show up for 2, 3 days,
You talking
and
about
then just
now?
pop back. Yeah,
Hell no. It's
hell nah.
GPS, it's cell phones. It's way too many. They can turn the car off if you got a certain car. Nah, it ain't. You can't. You
but
definitely can't do that now.
but just think how weird that is to just. I mean, like I said, it might not be weird in the '70s, but to just leave unannounced for days and then just show back
Just
up,
pop back up
like
like ain't nothing changed.
like nothing happened. You know what I'm
Nigga,
saying?
where were you?
Like like you been gone for 3 days and shit.
Nigga, where have
Like
you
what
been?
the fuck?
Where? How to? This is the ultimate question. What were you doing that was so important for 2 or 3 days? Like you didn't bring no extra clothes. You ain't do nothing. You just nigga. That's hey for a nigga to be that stressed out, bro. That you got to take a ride for 2 or 3 days. Just leave, bro. It ain't that deep. I promise you, bro. Just leave. That's crazy, bro. You, hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to grab some cigarettes. Then you leave, come back, come back on Thursday, like ain't nothing happened. Hey, motherfuckers, motherfuckers just going on about their day. Nothing changed. That ain't weird at all. That's crazy, bro.
Yo, that's super crazy,
Oh my
man.
goodness.
Nah, but no, man. They had talked to one of the former students,
Yeah,
Trish, and Trish went to school with one of Jim's daughter. That was the
the
daughter. She went to
biological
school with
daughter,
the
right?
daughter. Yeah, yeah, the one
Yeah,
that when she went to college, he ended
yeah,
up quitting and shit.
yeah,
And so she was telling the story about, say her interaction with Jim and shit, which was wild as fuck. And I'm sitting here like, yo, like this is a dude. And that's why I say I don't know what was the vetting back then for teachers.
hmm
I think obviously now there are at least like background checks and shit like that.
yeah, yeah.
But for Jim to be the creep that he was, and just to know that this dude was just around high school students the way that he was, and then like you said, using his fucking biological daughter to fucking
Yes,
get closer to these other girls and stuff, man, it
that's
was
fucking
just like
crazy.
it's sick shit. But then it also has you thinking like, you really think Jim was the only motherfucker?
Definitely not.
You know
But
what I
he's
mean?
definitely the only nigga with a granddaughter that think he's fucking somebody else. That shit shattered. I'm sure that shit would have shattered his whole world. Like, out of all these motherfuckers I get away with, it had to be these pesky fucking kids. Like, this the motherfucker that can bring me down. Listen, bro, that's what's so crazy about even just watching this shit. Is like, cause in the back of my mind, like I'm trying to put myself in these people's shoes during this time, which is of course hard to do because I wasn't born in the '70s. I don't know what the '70s is like. I'm only going off of what I see and what I hear.
Yeah.
But as a teenager in high school, right, your image is everything. I don't care what high school you went to. I don't care how old you are, what year you were born, what decade, whatever. In high school, your image is everything, right? So
Hmm.
everybody falls into categories. Everybody has compartmentalized personas in high school. We all know this, right? For the generic version is the jocks, the nerds, the goths, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The super pretty girls, you know what I'm saying, the quiet girls that, you know what I'm saying, do all the schoolwork and stuff like that that nobody look at. That, you know what I'm saying, we already know the generic stereotypes of high schoolers. So imagine being this chick that goes to school, right? And your dad is one of the teachers. So you probably get away with a lot of shit. But then to make it even fucking better, right? You probably super popular because everybody know that you Mr. Mordecai's daughter, right? Y'all got the same fucking last name. It ain't that fucking hard, and it ain't that many people with the last name Mordecai.
Hmm.
So everybody know you. All the teachers probably know you. Super fucking popular. She was a pretty girl, so I'm sure you know what I'm saying the motherfuckers was on her. But then how fucking high your fame and stardom has to go in high school because your dad is like, fuck that. Y'all can come to and kick it in the pool. Y'all can have some beers. Y'all can do whatever the fuck y'all want. Y'all want to sniff cocaine? Do it. I don't give a fuck. Come to Mr. Mordecai house and kick it. So now, like you the motherfucker at the school known for having the dope parties and all this shit, and the whole time you thinking that your dad is just this cool motherfucker, even though you know he got a few problems here and there, but for the most part, he all right. So you know what I'm saying? You kind
Yeah,
of deal with that. Then you get older and realize that this nigga was a fucking creep ass groomer, bro. That is some shit to go through. That is some
yeah, man,
shit
like
to
that.
go through.
Yeah, like that whole shit about the motherfuckers being in the jacuzzi and shit.
Nigga,
Yo,
first off, what the fuck were teachers making in the 70s where you could have a jacuzzi as a teacher? That's
th-
some cold shit.
yes, that's one
Hey,
thing.
I know a bunch of teachers right now that'll whoop Jim Mordecai's ass. For real. What? This nigga had a whole
Nah,
jacuzzi at the house?
yes,
Off a teacher
facts.
job.
Yeah, but also just the like, you don't hear about fucking teachers being in the jacuzzi at their house with students. Like,
No. I had
just
one teacher like that, right? Her name was Mrs. Barker. She was married. She was a dope woman. You know what I'm saying? She went to college and she was in a fraternity. All these cool things. She would bring us up, like she would allow us to come over her house. You know what I'm saying? To like kick it with her kids, cause she had some
mhm,
step kids that was our age, and then she had like some kids who were a little bit younger than us. I think there was like in middle school or some shit when we was in school, or just getting into high school. And so you know what I'm saying? Like we would go over there, kick it, and you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. Sometimes I would go cut her grass for her, stuff, you know what I'm saying, like do chores for her. She'd pay me for it, stuff like that. Like it was all good. But it wasn't never like no time where like she was coming on to one of us or something like that. Like it wasn't never no weird shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it just amazes me how like this motherfucker was just like around all these childish ass, annoying ass, high pitched voice ass little girls and was like, "Oh, I gotta get me one." Why? Why?
exactly.
That's crazy. It's I don't understand. Like where I come from, growing up, we always went after the older ones. We didn't even want the girls in our grades. We went after the older girls. Like we was going after the seniors. We was going after the chicks in college. Or if she was fine enough, we was trying to get on somebody's mama. You know what I'm saying? Like we was after the older ones. So I never understand like this thing about like even with like Leonardo DiCaprio and like all these famous niggas like just constantly just every time you turn around they got a chick that's like 30 years younger than I'm like, what the fuck is that? Why would you want that?
Yo, man, I'm not trying to get into this,
Hmm.
but it just reminded me of something, and I didn't realize it until like it was said today, and I know you heard it today. But I did not. I always knew she was a lot younger, but I
Hmm.
did not realize that the man that's going through a lot of shit right now was 37
Yeah,
when the
she was
other girl was
19.
19. I was
Bro,
like, I didn't realize that the gap was
that's
that much back
that's what I'm
then.
saying. That's some weird shit, bro. Like, think about this, right? Think about this. Just if you can, go back and think about how all the girls in high school, or just you was 19, probably college. So like just all the girls around like that age, 17 through 19, just how annoying as fuck they was. No, I'm for real. Like, don't get me wrong. When you was 16, 17, 18, whatever, they was real pretty.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You was 16, 17, so you ain't give a fuck how annoying they was. But if you think back, like think back on that as a grown man, being around a
yeah.
motherfucker 19 years old, y'all ain't got nothing to talk about. Ain't no way y'all interested in the same shit. And the shit that she wanna do, bro, that shit ain't fun, bro. She wanna go sit at a section and bounce around and wave a drink in the air and say hey and just listen to music. Y'all can't talk. You barely could see her because the lights be fucking up, the lights be doing all kind of shit. So the shit she want to do ain't ain't some shit that you gonna get to know this woman, or like what is the, I don't get it, bro. I really don't get it. Like if you next time you meet somebody that's a girl that's 19, have a conversation with her. just talk to her. I got little cousins that's 19, and I just talk to them. You know what I'm saying? I just be wanting to hear the shit that they say. And it just be like, shut the fuck up. You don't know shit, bro. You don't know nothing. You ain't experienced nothing. You and it sounds like you haven't experienced nothing. I get when the older generation, like when we used to say shit, and they be like, you think you know it all. That I get that now. I truly understand that now. Cause it's like,
Yeah,
bro, you really think you know so much. Like, motherfucker, you ain't even have to pay taxes yet. Like that type shit. Like,
true.
yo, I couldn't do it, bro. There's no way.
Nah, definitely. I mean, me neither. But at the same time, I think that they're looking at it from the other approach of like they're very impressionable at that age, and I can groom them into what I want them to do. I can tell them to do, and then being not only an older figure, but being, you know what I'm saying, a teacher. Like, you know what I'm saying, when you go to school, for the most part, you kind of at least look up to your teachers to a certain
Mm-hmm.
extent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like he's taking advantage of that position of I'm a man of authority,
Yeah.
these kids look up to me, and I'm gonna try to groom them into doing what I want them to do. You know what I'm saying? But I'm
Yeah.
also gonna try to do it in a type of way of like, yo, jump in the jacuzzi with me, and and all this type of shit. And it's kind of, and then at the same time, you got girls that are kind of curious at that age, like, oh
Mm-hmm.
man, I wonder what it might be like being with an older man and all types of little shit like that. So but they don't know any better because their mind ain't developed
They
enough
ain't did
to.
nothing. Yeah, they ain't had no
Yeah,
real experience. But that
yeah.
and see that's what I'm saying, bro. Like that's I just don't understand how he was attracted because like you around these girls every day, right? We've all been to high school. You remember how girls used to be musty sometimes? Like they not really taking care of themselves for real and shit like that. Like why as a grown man would you want
I do.
that?
I
I don't
couldn't answer that question because I'm
like
not.
that's some like really like man that's really that should be some shit that not is just you know what I'm saying, because I know it's the sickness, but yo like that's some shit that really needs to be figured the fuck out. Like what the fuck is it about this grown ass man who for all intents and purposes could just be smashing the other teachers? Like you in the vicinity of these hoes all day. And I'm sure they got some decent teachers in that motherfucker. Bro, it's
Yeah.
California. So you could have been that motherfucker cleaning house. Instead, you trying to pick up little Sarah.
Oh man, not little Sarah.
Man, little
Um.
Sarah was going through it.
Oh yeah, definitely going through it. But
That's crazy.
but I think at the end of the day, man, the moral of the story is, me personally,
Mhm.
um, I don't think he was the Zodiac killer, or at least one of the Zodiac killers, because I feel like there were multiple. But I think that honestly, dude, I think there was just a lot of people killing a lot of people back then. To be honest with
Yo,
you, I think so many people
California,
got bodies, man.
bro,
Have you
California
really
was
think about it,
not safe in the 60s and 70s.
dude?
In
Really
the
think
80s
about
either.
how many.
Well, I
Yeah,
take
think
that back.
about.
I take that back. 80s was probably cool.
Yeah, 80s was probably cool, but
Cocaine was
yeah,
yeah.
but I honestly think, man, like you said, it wasn't safe. But I think more people got bodies than we actually think, and just
Hell yeah.
live life. Never got arrested.
Bro,
Just
think about if you think about what's going on in the 60s and the 70s, right? The Vietnam War was what, 70s?
Vietnam what started in the 60s, like 68 or something like that.
Okay, so that's the 60s. And
But it
then
went all the way through the 70s, basically.
okay, yeah, so that's going on, right? And then niggas is getting assassinated left and right in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Then niggas start getting assassinated left and right in the 70s. The FBI is running rampant, planting evidence on niggas. You know what I'm saying? They bringing in cocaine in the 70s, and then next thing you know, crack hit the streets in the 80s. Fucking what is the fucking the Cold War was going on. You know what I'm saying? That's some shit that started in the 50s that's still probably popping to this day. That started off the whole NASA shit and getting niggas on the moon, where you know what I'm saying? Like they got niggas watching that shit on the moon. Um I'm trying to think what the fuck else was going on. Bro, it was so much shit that was happening. You know what I'm saying? Race riots, all kind of shit was going on.
I mean, well, the thing is, and I'm gonna tell y'all now, man. One of the best things CNN ever put together. I mean, hell, we might could do that shit on here. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Real talk. So they got these things put together. CNN put together. They got the '60s, the '70s, the '80s, the '90s,
Mm-hmm.
the 2000s, and the 2010s or whatever. But the '60s was the hardest one. That was like the best one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's these documentaries, probably like 8 to 10 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for each decade or whatever. But yeah, if, I'm mentioning that because y'all can go back and watch like a lot
Yeah.
of the shit that was going on in the '70s. Like it was a wild time,
And shit.
and
Oh, I forgot that I didn't mean to cut you off, I'm sorry. But I forgot that the one shit happened at Kent State. When
yeah,
they shot the protesters at Kent State, the student protesters at Kent State,
yep,
National Guard. You know what I'm saying? Like
yep,
shit was crazy, bro.
it really was. But but yeah, I think to get back to Jim though, I don't think that he was one of the Zodiac killers.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Jim got some bodies, but I
Oh, for
also think
sure.
that he could have been the Santa Rosa hitchhiker killer. Just for some of the things that he was done, the time periods of when he disappeared
Mm-hmm.
and popped back up and all this type shit, and taking his sons to the sites and all of that.
Yeah.
I think that he could have been involved in some of that shit.
Okay. So I don't think that he was either killer, right? It's probable that he could be the Santa Rosa killer. The
Okay.
yeah, but I don't for sure don't think he was a Zodiac. I think the Zodiac killer is dead. Um, and I think that them niggas or him, them, whoever. But I do believe it is one person. And like we like we know, you know what I'm saying, information came out that this nigga was just basically taking murders and was like, yeah, that was me. So I don't think he really was out there like that. He probably got one or two of them. The rest of them, I think he was just going ahead and claiming them. Um, but as far as Jim, I don't think he was either one. Honestly, I think that does he probably have bodies for sure. I don't think it's any of those though. I think that basically he did that early and started to gain that God complex, which is where the whole quoting the scriptures and shit was from. And he was going around
Hmm.
talking about I'm Moses and God sent me to get rid of people and all that shit. Like, yeah, he definitely got some fucking bodies. But as far as just the weird shit he was doing, I wouldn't be surprised if um him especially being a known rapist, him talking the shit that he did and saying the shit that he did, doing some of the shit that he did, like I wouldn't be surprised if he was on that type of like murdering spree.
Yeah.
And they just don't know that it, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure he got a few cold cases that motherfuckers just don't know, or just don't know that this motherfucker got bodies in general. Because if you going for 2 or 3 days, that's enough to kill a motherfucker and get rid of a body. And if you done that multiple times, I'm sure you done did some shit you ain't supposed to be doing.
Man, it's wild to think about, man. Because
Yeah.
like we just grew up in a time like the one thing with us being the ages that we are, like, we remember, being young and it's not really no cell phone. And then you go into the first cell phones where, what I'm saying, where you had to text somebody, you know what I'm saying, you had to hit the numbers a whole bunch of times
Mm-hmm.
to get, what I'm saying? Like we
And it
seen the
costs per text.
transition, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like we seen like that transition, but we still was kids though. But to see adults to like I remember Oh man, I was listening to the show and they was like, "Yo, what it used to be like was," and because they were talking about like divorce rates and shit like this,
Mm-hmm.
and they were saying that back then, once you left to go to work, you kiss your wife goodbye. You know what I'm saying? You go to work. They're like, "Yo, you ain't talk to them
All day, bro.
all
You ain't
day," and
call your
then
lunch. You ain't do none of that
yeah,
shit unless it's
yeah,
an
and then
emergency.
yeah, and then you would go home, you eat dinner, and then y'all would talk about your day.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, now it's like your wife got access to you all day.
24/7. You
And
when
they
you
were
when
just
you
saying
come
that.
home, you don't even want to talk to that motherfucker because you've been talking to him all day. Nigga, it ain't nothing new happened on this 30-minute drive from work to home. I promise you. You good. You got everything throughout the day.
Hey man, and it's just like to think that, I mean, that was normal life for them. So
Mm-hmm.
like we're sitting here talking about, I still think it's still odd that your husband go off to work. You know what I'm saying? It's 12 o'clock. You wake up, he still ain't here. You'll
Yeah.
hear from him. Then next day, he don't come home at
He pop
all.
up.
And it's like, yeah, and then he just pop up. you know,
You ain't even
I
she just making coffee.
yeah,
I'm
like
I'm
it's
gonna tell
just
you what's even weirder. The fact this nigga was gone for 2 or 3 days and then showed back up. That's weird than a motherfucker. Like, like what the fuck was like? How are you gone for 2 3 days? Like, are you leaving? Are you not leaving? Motherfucker, make your mind up.
oh man. And then she probably like, where you been? Shut the fuck up, bitch. Okay.
Oh, it was it. She did not question where that motherfucker was at all. I guarantee. Like I said, she just that motherfucker walked in the house. She just making coffee like that shit normal. You would have to be
yeah,
because like if you with somebody and they just dip off for 48 hours and then come back, normally you'll be like, that's some odd shit. Like, yo, you all right?
yeah.
Like, what happened? Where did you go? You can't talk to an abusive motherfucker like that though.
This is true.
You know what I'm
This is
saying?
true.
Like, because you don't know what this motherfucker went to go do. Because all you know for real is violence. You know his angry side. You know who this motherfucker really is. So that motherfucker could have been out smacking motherfuckers all day for 2 days straight. You don't know. You just ain't trying to be the next motherfucker to get smacked.
Exactly. Yeah. So
You know what
more
I'm
than
saying?
likely, like you said, it was probably like, hey, you want some coffee? You know what I mean? Like she was
Exactly.
like,
Yeah,
whatever,
just she
whatever
in
I
there
need to
just
do
cooking
to,
breakfast. She probably
yeah,
crying her motherfucking poor little heart out, but she cooking breakfast so she can make sure that shit ain't cool. And that's why I'm saying, bro, like, bro, this nigga's a real live hoe ass nigga, bro. Like, I've never seen a serial killer who was such a hoe ass nigga. Most serial killers, like, they kill a motherfucker, they leave a trail behind, fuck with the cops. You know what I'm saying? Cool shit like that. Like, you can make a movie off that. You can't make no movie off this nigga, bro.
no, not Jim, not Jim. Now Ted Bundy now a little different.
That's
Um,
that's another weird situation.
it's definitely weird,
No, I'm
especially when
saying
he
the.
tried.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, especially like when he tried to kidnap the girl in Utah. Like that was just some weird ass shit. He tried to kidnap a girl from
Why
the
you
mall, yo. Like
in
what do
Utah?
you at the mall? Who goes to
In
the mall and
Utah, like it ain't no
in a
bad bitches in
in a
Utah, nigga.
in a goddamn '68 Beetle and shit? Like that was
Yeah,
fucking yellow.
that's crazy. Trying to kidnap a nigga in a Beetle is wild. That motherfucker that big, bro. What? Nah, I'm gonna tell you what I always thought was crazy about Ted Bundy, bro. And this is one of those things like when you when people talk about like the previous famous celebrities and stuff, and they like hype them up and talk about like you know what I'm saying, like how good looking they was and all this other stuff. I don't get it with Ted Bundy, bro.
Man, Ted
This
Bundy
this
had the
nigga this
hoes.
nigga ain't no Leo. This nigga ain't no Channing Tatum. He not a Brad Pitt. This nigga is Vince Vaughn.
Yo, that's hilarious.
You know what I'm saying? Like
That is hilarious.
that's who they was going crazy over in the at that time. All right, that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what was floating their boat. Is that's crazy. That's
The
like
wild.
I think I bring this up too many times. Jackie Kennedy.
Yo,
Damn.
man, what? You be on Jackie Kennedy, boy. Like,
Cause it broke my heart, bro. It broke my heart, bro. Listen, so so um, you know how like so I grew up around like a lot of older people. Like my aunts and uncles that like usually your aunts and uncles would be like your mom's brother, not like my aunts and uncles is like my grandma's brothers and sisters. So that's what I mean when I say like older, right? So they would be
yeah,
talking and they would be talking about women because at barbecues and stuff like that, you ain't supposed to be around them, but you younger, they don't give a fuck. They come on over here, boy. You know what I'm saying? But they used to talk about like Jackie Kennedy. And like, or just like, even if you just kicking it around the house with them and stuff like that, like they be talking about Jackie Kennedy. So it'd be days like during the summer, my grandma would watch me. I go to my grandma's house, stuff like that. They be in there kicking it, talking, and they'd be talking about like Jackie Kennedy, but they'd be talking about her like she Megan the Stallion or like Gabrielle Union or you know what I'm saying? Like the way that they was talking about her was like, yo, this motherfucker got to be cold. So all throughout my childhood, I'm thinking that Jackie Kennedy is just like beautiful, beautiful woman. So then like all these girls start coming out, call themselves Jackie O, or they use the Onassis last name and all that. I'm like, yo, Jackie Kennedy must be fucking fire. You feel me? Like she got to be. It's like she is one of them ones because I keep like all my life, man. I googled this motherfucker. I googled that motherfucker, man. I said, ain't no goddamn way, bro.
man,
How?
we've
What?
already had
What
this
was?
conversation, man. I
I
told you
know,
what it
bro. I
was.
know. I know, bro. But no, man. I'm still not convinced to this day, bro.
She was the youngest first lady, man.
Damn, that's all that mattered, huh? Like,
I'm
have you
telling you.
like, bro? And we definitely talked about this, bro. Let me tell you something. The list of first ladies, ugh, horrible, horrible. Even what's his name? Lincoln's wife. Nah, nah. It's a reason that they don't give him no other title except first lady, bro. And I
Yeah, that's
understand why they say
hilarious.
first. I get it
That
because
is,
she easily could have been replaced because them motherfuckers is hit. Like, bro, the finest first ladies is Michelle Obama, Ivanka Trump, or whatever, Melania Trump, or whatever, which one ever they is. But Trump wife, two coldest. The rest of them, I give Hillary a slight third, but that's only because in the 96s, in the 96 in the 90s, she was decent compared to like all the rest of them.
yo,
Once
she
she
is
got in them
wild,
pantsuits, it
but
was over. But yeah, nah, bro, it ain't too many fire first ladies, bro. It's tough out here.
I
Now I
mean,
could
yeah,
see, I could understand, you know what I'm saying, if you know what I'm saying they had somebody that was like a little decent, but nah, bro, they was hyping up them first ladies. It was crazy. Speaking of fine, Sierra was fine, bro.
yeah, yeah.
Man, hey,
Sierra was
she
fine.
was alright. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I'm kind of sorry she went through. Well, not kind of, but you know what I'm saying. I'm sorry she went through what she went through because I know it's probably tough to date somebody like that. But you know what I'm saying. It ain't too easy to trust people after you go through something like that. So that's probably
Yeah.
a rough relationship for both parties. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, nah. I ain't gonna lie. I would give it a shot though for sure.
She
I
was
will
a little bit.
work through it. We going to therapy, baby. We
Oh
gonna get
man.
you all the way together. We gonna talk about this. We gonna get this settled. We gonna fix this. Cause ain't no way. She was alright.
Oh man. You wild boy, man. You a wild boy.
I'm just saying, bro. It's the truth, man. So let's get into the fire flames, bro.
Let's do it.
Shit. All right, man. What you got?
All right, man. Well, it ain't really no cast. So I'll get this documentary for the information that was given and everything that they did in these 4 episodes. Um, Obviously, when it comes to documentaries, I take them very seriously as far as like rating them because
Mm-hmm.
you know I'm gonna give this I'm gonna give this a 3.5.
Yeah.
Um, it could have been more, but then some of the other stuff kind of dragged a little bit. But but I mean, I'm glad we were able to do this. But I would still suggest people to watch it because it is
Mm-hmm.
interesting, especially if you are. Because what really turned me onto it was the whole fact of
Yeah.
possibly could have been a Zodiac killer, and
Right.
I go down that wormhole all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what intrigued me in the first place. But I'm gonna have to give it about a 3.5 though.
I'm gonna have to agree with you, bro. A 3.5 is exactly where I was at. The story is definitely interesting. It definitely deserves to be heard. Um, but like I said, I didn't really know too much about it. It looked like I thought it was gonna be some cult shit. So that's what attracted me to it because I just seen the cover of it. So I'm like, oh shit, they done got a nigga in the cult. Like they about to go and real, you know what I'm saying, and talk all kind of shit about this nigga. So I was ready to watch it. And then once I actually started watching it and figuring out what was going on, then I was like, oh, this shit is crazy. Like this motherfucker might break this case. And that's what really intrigued me through this whole thing. Once again, like that's what really kept my attention. Cause I'm like, yo, if she figured this shit out, this is gonna be an amazing thing to see. You know what I'm saying? It's like literally showing the inception of possibly catching who this motherfucker could be. So that's what really kept me into it. But overall, it was good. It was good. All right,
Man,
let's jump into coming soon.
let's do it.
Alrighty then. Our next joint is is a piece of the Kingsman franchise. It is currently on Apple. That's the only place I've seen it. I don't know if it's anywhere else, but you guys should definitely check it out. It's pretty good. It's a movie called Argyle, and y'all know I'm a sucker for plot twists. Plot twist came. I was like, oh, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? Starring Bryce Dallas Harper and oh, why is his name escaping me? Sam
Uh, oh dang.
oh my goodness, bro. Hold on, man. Cause that's my guy. I can't even disrespect him like that. You feel me?
Oh man.
Damn, bro. Sam. Mm, mm, mm.
You got
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Walker, yeah, Brian
Yeah, Sam.
Cranston.
Yeah, Brian Cranston
Uh,
and Henry Cavill or Cavill or
and
however
bump
you
all
say
that,
his
man.
name.
Bryce Dallas Howard's in this bad one.
Yeah, I already said. I
Oh,
said her first.
oh yeah. My bad, my
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, and it's thick, Bryce too.
bad.
Yeah.
He said,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's
yeah.
thick Bryce. I fucks with it. Nah, it's a good movie though, man. I watched it a couple times already, but it's real dope. I like the spin that they put on it. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was um I thought that was dope how they brought the story along. Yo, real quick, for the longest time, bro, I thought Henry Cavill and Jim Caviezel was the same nigga.
I can see that.
I used to
I
when
can see
Henry Cavill
that.
got the when that nigga got the Superman movie, I was like, this nigga killing the roles. This nigga doing Superman and Jesus. My nigga said, "Man, that ain't the same damn person." I said, "Yeah, it is." He said, "Nah, nigga, Jesus is Jim Caviezel." I was like, "Oh shit." So I promise you, bro, for the longest, bro, I was like, bro, this nigga is getting to it, bro. I'm like, nigga, you know how fucking dope you gotta
Oh
be
my
to
god.
play both of them? Yeah, I was like, man, this
Oh.
nigga Henry Cavill was killing it. Was wrong this whole time, bro. Oh my goodness, you talk about hilarious, bro. When I found that shit out, I was like, God, I've been saying that nigga the same person for the longest. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
shit.
But
That's too funny.
hey man, listen, if you guys enjoyed the episode, if you didn't enjoy the episode, if you too feel like this nigga Jim is, you know what I'm saying, a serial killer who never got caught and got away with some heinous shit, then hit us up. Let us know on the socials on Instagram and Twitter at VO9Pod, on Facebook, VA Pod Watch Group, um, uh, YouTube. Uh, leave a comment in the comment section, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe to videos. Um, and I know I keep saying it, but I promise y'all them videos are gonna come up. And last but not least, join our Patreon, patreon.com/viewers anonymous. We just put up a new episode not too long ago, so go check that out ASAP.
And y'all can find me at s.foster8 on Instagram and on Twitter. And TikTok as well. Follow the podcast 28 minutes or less. On all major platforms, man. The last episode is where I just went ahead and just probably just you know what I'm saying, put a cap on it. At least I think.
Mm-hmm.
Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. That's episode 153. So go check that out. And that's all I got, man.
That's what's up. And usually I give out my socials, but I don't want you to follow me. Follow the pod, man. You'll find me
Yeah.
somewhere and linked in there. But until then, just follow the pod, man. That's all I ask. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. Without you, there could be no us. And until the next episode, like they say in Hollywood, that's a wrap.
Cut.